Ladies and gentlemen, I regret to inform you that after over a year of being the hardest level ever completed in the game, Acheron has finally been dethroned not by the upcoming, recently completed but not yet placed tidal wave, or by any of the monster masterpieces that have been recently finished like the Amethyst, the Apocalyptic Trilogy, or Avernus, but by Avernus. This has understandably set the community completely on fire. A lot of people aren't big fans of Avernus, considering that the decoration is pretty disjointed. It's very clear that the host was pretty much only making the level for the clout. There's a lot of issues with the hitboxes in the gameplay, making it unnecessarily difficult in ways the player can't predict. It's a whole mess, and I've already made a video outlining my thoughts on the level in more depth, way back when it was verified and placed at number 2. But in summary, I don't like the level because I have some issues with the gameplay and decoration, but mostly because it was very clearly made, only so that it would be the hardest level in the game, with the purpose of attracting attention instead of bringing something interesting to the game. This community spotlights what's in the number 1 spot very heavily, so to see this level win over lots of other levels in which much more time and effort was put into the creation does bug me. But I'm not going to be talking about that either. There's a lot of discourse surrounding this situation that I'm sure will be portrayed in tons of videos. I can't say if this was the right decision or not, because obviously I'm not good enough to play either one of these levels, Avernus or now the number 2 Acheron. Instead, this video is about what's next. Essentially, how could Avernus be dethroned? How is this whole situation going to come to a close in some sense? Because I think that's more interesting than just talking about how bad Avernus is again, when everyone who already doesn't like it has stated why, and the people who still like Avernus have stated that it doesn't matter to them. If you enjoyed today's video, please remember to like and subscribe. It helps out the channel a ton, and you'll see more content like this. And if you don't, then you can suck my Avernuts. Without further ado, let's get into the video. First up, there is a scenario that Avernus just stays above Acheron, which, while I don't think is that likely, it's a possibility. In this situation, my prediction is that Avernus would actually end up being top 1 for quite some time, because with the release of 2.2, a lot of people are going to shift focus away from the demons list for quite some time to play with the new update. So if you don't want Avernus to be the final top 1 of 2.1, this would be your darkest timeline. While I don't think this is the most likely possibility, I don't think it's excusable either. There is a decent chance that just because 2.2 is so close, this ends up being the case, barring another top player verifies a new top 1 like very soon. The second possibility is that these two are just switched again. Acheron gets moved above Avernus to Tartarus and the Golden situation, which is pretty poetic considering that Tartarus is the kind of prequel to Acheron and Avernus is the kind of prequel to the Golden. In both situations, there's like clear similarities between the old level and the new one, but the creators just completely ignore it because it's beneficial to them to do that. The reason I think that this is a decent possibility is because the only two people who have played Avernus enough to get a list percentage are zonk'd and Diamond. Zonk'd being the verifier and Diamond going for first victor. So while you can make arguments that Avernus is harder because of all of its frame perfects, ultimately the only people who have completely valid opinions on this are Diamond and Mr. Zonk himself. In the description of Avernus's verification, Zonk said it could end up placing anywhere in the top 5 as far as he was concerned. It never said it was necessarily a top 1, and if you say that's him being biased because he verified Acheron, he also verified Avernus. He would undoubtedly gain more attention if Avernus was the second consecutive top 1 that he had verified, so let's not pull that card out of the stack. Diamond has also claimed, even in video titles, that Avernus is top 2. He never said that it was top 1 until his most recent video, and he only included that in the title very recently as a change to the original title of the video, which I can prove because the notification that I got from Diamond's channel, because I am subscribed to him, doesn't say top 1 anywhere in the title. It's possible that he thinks it's top 1 now, but to be fair, he also has not beaten Acheron. So I think that this is a decent possibility. I think arguments for or against Avernus being harder than Acheron in that, oh, it has more frame perfects than Acheron, so clearly it's harder, or oh, it's just unfun, that's why no one wants to play it, are kind of applicable, but at the end of the day, none of us have really made significant progress on these levels. And while they are points to consider, that's not really something the demon list should be taking into account. I've always stuck by the majority opinion among top players when it comes to difficulty placement, because obviously I can't beat any of these levels, so obviously I still will if for some reason Zoink and Diamond are like, actually no, it's top 0, okay fine, whatever. Because even then, there's another possibility. The third possibility is the tidal wave comes and saves us all. Tidal Wave did apparently fail the mod vote, which is kind of sad. Some people agree with this decision, a lot of people don't. What's been really funny recently is seeing people who previously thought Tidal Wave wasn't good enough for a rate now begging for it to be rated. I think it should be rated, but I don't know if it necessarily needs to be featured or epic. This is probably the quickest and most surefire way to dethrone Avernus, so if you don't want Avernus to be the final top 1 of 2.1, this is probably your best bet. Because the level's already been beaten, it just can't be placed on the demon list because it hasn't been rated yet. and of course every mod and their mother's mother have all heard about this level, so some of them changing their mind is probably the quickest and most likely way that Avernus would be dethroned as top 1. I'd say this is around as likely as Acheron and Avernus getting swapped again, but I've also been losing a bit of faith in the rating system steadily day by day for the past 7 years, so I don't know, but I think it's a pretty decent possibility. Possibility number 4 is simply another top 1 has to be verified. This one kind of goes hand in hand with the first possibility that Avernus just ends up being top 1 for a sustainable amount of time going into 2.2. The difference is that here, a new top 1 is verified at the very beginning of 2.2 or around the first month or so of 2.2, meaning that it overtakes Avernus a lot quicker, whereas the first possibility I discussed in this video assumes that a lot of people just don't care about the demon list for quite some time. For example, Trick verifies the Apocalyptic Trilogy, or more likely Zonk'd is like, hey, what if I just verified a 4th top 1 that wasn't as hard as Tidal Wave, but still harder than Acheron and Avernus, and doesn't have potential decoration issues. And by that I mean he gets the verification rights to Avernus or maybe Silent Acropolis. I couldn't see this being the case with the Amethyst or Flame Wall, and probably not the Apocalyptic Trilogy because each of those levels have their respected assigned verifiers who care about each of their levels and play the level consistently, so I doubt they would just give up their verifications for Zonk'd to like speed through it just to dethrone Avernus. But if there's an open verification or something that Zonk'd can do to pull through and be an absolute G and verify a 4th top 1, which I know sounds absolutely insane, but hey, if Avernus took him less than 30,000 attempts, then it's not impossible. So yeah, those are the 4 possibilities that I could see this taking. Either 1, it stays top 1, it's concrete, it stays there, 2.2 releases and everyone goes and deals with that for a few months, and someday, you know, naturally another top 1 will be verified. The second possibility is that it'll get swapped back with Acheron again, due to player opinions or just community backlash maybe at this point. The third possibility is that Tidal Wave gets rated in time for it to be placed relatively soon, perhaps before 2.2 even. Or 4, Zonk'd or someone else manages to verify a top 1 within the near future. Probably not as hard as Tidal Wave because of how much of a skill jump that is, but just enough so that we don't have Avernus as a top 1. I did mention earlier Silent Acropolis would be a good possibility, but that's only true if Zonk'd gets the verification, which probably wouldn't happen because I think it already has an assigned verifier, but from what I know, there hasn't been very much progress made. I think this one's probably the least likely out of the 4. So yeah, that's it for today's video. Please remember to be kind and respectful to everyone in the comments. It's important to remember, again, this is all just like a game, especially when talking about a level this divisive. Sorry for the kind of gap in uploads since the beginning of the month. I will be uploading a lot more over the next week or so, and oh my god, am I going to be chronically online when 2.2 comes out. If you'd like to join my Discord server, the link is in the description, along with the original video I made on Avernus way back when it was actually verified. Thank you guys so much for the support recently, and yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.